I'm Michael Ward. I'm a senior investigator at the National Institutes of Health in Bethesda, Maryland, and I'm co-organizing the Neurodegeneration Keystone meeting at Whistler, BC in June 2025. So I'm really lucky that we've had two fantastic co-organizers for this meeting. Erica Holzbauer, who's an investigator at University of Pennsylvania, and Sarah DeVos, who's actually in industry. And we really wanted to do something different with this year's neurodegeneration meeting at Keystone, and focusing on an area that each of us holds dear to our hearts, and that is cell biology. And so this year's meeting is going to focus on the cell biology of neurodegeneration. And so one of the cell types in neurodegeneration that is the most affected is actually the immune system, or cells in the immune system. And we know in Alzheimer's, for example, that many of the genes that have risk variants associated with an increased or decreased risk of neurodegeneration are actually genes that are primarily expressed in immune cells within the brain. And so I think it makes sense, actually, especially in a year where we're going to focus on cell biology of neurodegeneration, to ask how do these genes and molecular networks function in relevant cell types, and those might be microglia or adaptive immune system biological effects. There have been some fundamental discoveries that have reshaped our view of neurodegeneration over the past couple of years. And what's interesting to me is they've come from different scales. Some of these discoveries are at the molecular resolution. These are structural biology studies using new technologies like cryo-EM and cryo-ET that have resolved some of the proteins that are intimately involved in neurodegeneration, either in their normal states or in their misfolded states as they're starting to form aggregates. So that's at this one ultra high resolution scale of structural biology that is telling us about what's going wrong in neurodegeneration. And then we have this other movement that's going on in cell biology, where we're looking at the lowest potential cellular resolution. We're looking at how entire networks of proteins function. So we have these two extremes, the structural scale all the way up to genes and proteins done at genome-wide scales. One of the things that's knitting these together is actually the use of advanced computational measures. So a focus of this meeting, in addition to the actual wet bench techniques, is going to be a focus on how computational biology, artificial intelligence, and machine learning is being employed to better understand what's going on inside of the cells as it relates to neurodegenerative diseases. All of the investigators who are here are excited about meeting the trainees. And I think it goes both ways. From my interactions with the trainees at these meetings, they're interested in meeting some of the best scientists in the field. And so we really have this incredible mixture of the best across different stages of their career, from students to postdocs to junior investigators to senior investigators, both on the academic side and on the industry side. So if you're serious about being considered for Short Talk, make sure that you submit your abstract by March 11th, 2025. If you want to be considered for poster, the submission deadline for that is May 15th, 2025. One of the reasons that I chose to study neurodegeneration is that I also see patients in clinic and I see their families. And we oftentimes, unfortunately, do not have any effective therapies to offer them. And these are devastating, life-altering, and oftentimes deadly diseases that we work on here. So this meeting has a special place in my heart because this is a way that we are giving therapies for patients and their families. And I'm hoping that the interactions that are going to happen in this meeting are going to be some that might be formative to that next cure for disease. So I'd encourage anybody who has this similar passion for trying to come up with cures for these diseases to consider attending.